Hello, and welcome to today's episode of Politics and Power with Dr. Avis. Today, we are talking about the power of education because we know that is absolutely transformational in our children's lives. And so, we have some amazing experts with us today. I'm going to start to my right with Principal and almost Dr. Shauna McCurdy, and we're going to have each one introduce yourselves and we'll jump right into the conversation.
All right. Well, good evening, good morning, and good day, everyone. My name is Shauna McCurdy. I am currently a public school principal, and I've been in education for over 25 years. I have three teenage children, two girls and a boy, and I am very passionate and currently focusing on family engagement, just working on empowering parents to be their students' best advocate, and just building that partnership between parents and the schools.
Perfect. Yes. So, Carol, introduce yourself.
Hello, my name is Carol Maletta. I am the host of the Parenting 411 radio show, where we share information parents need from sources they can trust. And I work with parents. I've been doing that for about 15 years. And I help them to find strategies to manage behavior, to help their children to be successful in school, and just improve relationships in the family. And that is really my passion because I really want to see children live up to their full potential.
Wonderful. Thank you. And Renee. In other words, Miss Michelle Obama. We just going to call that out.
Well, I like that scenario because my name is Renee Frazier, and I actually am a business owner, but I actually am a stay-at-home mom for a number of years, so I probably have almost as much years as being a stay-at-home mom as I do as a business owner. And so I'm really a big advocate of empowering youth in the process. There is no proper model for parent-teacher relationships without the children. They are part of the equation and making sure that we empower our kids. I have an Ivy League school child. I have godchildren that have gone to Ivy League, so I really am about giving them their voice and making sure that they're part of the equation.
Absolutely. That's powerful. And you hit on a very important point there. I know in speaking with you ladies prior, you had spoken about this concept of one team, one dream, and really being able to get the parents and the educational institutions all on the same page in order to best give your children the foundation they need for success.
Yes.
Carol, can you start off talking about that in terms of how do we create that scenario in our lives?
Okay, well, for starters, it's important every school year for the parent to reach out to the school. And I used to do that for my own children. I have twin sons who are now 20 years old. But at the beginning of every school year, I sent an email to their teachers, introducing them to myself and my husband, and letting them know that we are so excited about the upcoming school year and working together. And if there were little things that I thought they needed to know about our sons, about what they enjoyed doing, or maybe if one was shy or something like that, I let them know a little bit so that they would know how to work with our children. And that really set the stage for the teachers to also feel like, well, this is an engaged parent, and if there's something that I see in the classroom, I need to really let them know about it because they care, and they will work with me to help their child be successful in the classroom. So.
Absolutely.
And as a parent educator, that is advice that I pass along to the parents that I work with.
Absolutely. And so, from a principal's perspective, what do you find happens in your school, for example, when you see that parents might sometimes be a little intimidated about that space? Like, what is it? How does that show up, and how can you overcome that?
Well, definitely, that's a primary concern. One of the things that we want to do in education as a principal, as a teacher, just in that whole space is create opportunities for parents to feel comfortable coming in and being a part of the education that we're providing for their children. We understand that it's a two-way communication. There's lots of research out there that discuss funds of knowledge, and in that fund of knowledge comes with what is the child bringing in from home? And we won't know that unless we are engaged with the families, receptive of parents who reach out via email, and also creating our opportunities where we send notification home in the beginning of the school year. You know, there's back to school nights, there's parent teacher conferences. So that's the administrative school side. And then having that receptive parent that is also willing to do that is a dream come true. So it's a duality. It's a partnership. And of course, as you stated, having the children have a voice in that process. So just being very transparent about that process, ensuring that all are empowered, and really creating a balance between the parent, the school, and the student. And that's our ideal.
So, as a parent, then, Renee, of a child who's now in the Ivy League, I think you mentioned, as your child was navigating the earlier educational system, what are some of the things that you did that you think led to the successes that your child is currently experiencing in education?
Well, I think it goes right back to this show. I mean, the empowerment part, and really, I think Carol and I talked about this a little bit in speaking about her expertise. You know, knowing when to let them take the lead, when it's time to have those conversations that regarding things that come up in school, because we do, especially as a Black mom, I'll tell you, you know, and from Brooklyn, I'll be like, what's going on at school, you know? So, but to say, you know, okay, what happened? You know, what does that look like? You know, what was your part? What was their part? Where do you see that I might fit in? I always tell them first, even with bullying, right? Because you talk about that too.
Yes.
First, let them know this is not something that's acceptable. Second, say, well, you know, I'm not feeling comfortable, and I'm going to tell the teacher. And then if the teacher doesn't react, then I say, I'm always the last call. Like, well, my mom said if things aren't going the way that I think they should, I probably should give her a call, right? So giving them the playbook.
Yes.
Of when things come up. It's a script. I think we oftentimes forget that. We can empower our kids by giving them a script. They're not going to know when things come, how to respond. That's our job to kind of help them navigate.
Absolutely.
Yes, that was something that I worked with one of my sons on when he was very young. He was probably in about the second grade, and he was dealing with a bully. And he said to me, you're going to call her mother, right? And I was like, no. He said, you're going to talk to my teacher. And I said, no. And he looked at me. I said, you are. And so we role played the discussion that he needed to have with the teacher. And essentially what that was for him to ask for a forum. I would like to sit down with you and the other student and talk about what's going on. And he practiced how he was going to sit across the table from the other student and describe what he was experiencing, you know, using I statements and all of that. And that's still an age, second grade, that's still an age where a lot of parents will jump in the fray and solve the problem. Yes. But I didn't want to do that. I felt like this was an important lesson for him. And I have to say that all the way up through college, he is a phenomenal advocate for himself.
That is wonderful. It's so empowering to give him those tools, even at that young age. And so when you see children in your school who are experiencing challenges, you know, what sort of support can you give them from the administrative standpoint as a principal, or perhaps coach your teachers around being able to help them find that inner strength as well?
Well, there are some structures that the school systems, just in general, regardless of where we are living in our communities or the social economic standings across the board, schools are equipped with processes and protocols that help to navigate children through those challenges. One of the things that I'm very passionate about, that both of you spoke eloquently about, is around student advocacy, giving them the voice, giving them the conversations, and even allowing them to be advocates around their academics. So another thing that we do that's really powerful, we have what we call student-led conferences. And the model for that equips the students with making selections of this is where I'm strong, this is where I'm struggling, and then empowering them with a voice to sit down and have that conversation with their parent or whoever their caregiver is. And that puts the resources of making the change in their academics, their social, their emotional, and their total school program in their hands. So there are structures that we put in place in the schoolhouse, professional school counselors, et cetera, but to hear that we have parents who have already nurtured students to success using those resources lets us know that together we're on the right track.
And I think that's really the key, having that partnership, once again, between the parents and the schools. What sort of tips do you give parents, for example, in terms of making those bonds very strong?
Oh, okay. Well, of course, starting off right in the beginning, with the communication. But then the next thing is that if there are any challenges, they should be, you know, very engaged with their own student at home, staying up with what they're doing in school. And so then if there are any challenges, they can present that to the administrators and to give them a fair chance to work on the problem.
Okay.
And
just a couple of other tips really quickly from Renee as a parent, if you can think of one really quick that was most helpful.
The biggest strength also is to let them know that no matter what the age, you're still there for them. I was just on the campus at Dartmouth earlier last year, like, okay, what are we going to talk to the administration about, to let them know that I don't care how far you are, you're never too far from my reach.
Especially when your money is going to Dartmouth.
That's right.
And lastly, any last tip that you want to share?
Well, lastly, I think the area of being receptive. So for schools, we're promoting getting out into the community, really building community schools and letting the community know that we're there outside of the academics, because everything is about relationships. So we just ask for that open and receptive platform so that we can begin that partnership with any relationship, regardless if it's our personal relationships or our academic relationships. It's all about that communication. So for our educators, I encourage them, old school, let's knock at the door. Let's make those good phone calls. Let's have events that are just about getting to know our parents and getting to know our students and our community. And I think that that's where, coming together and really being able to help the children at the critical parts, such as academic, social, and emotional challenges, really play into them being successful.
That is powerful. Well, thank you so much, ladies. I know this is
Thank
going to be
you.
helpful. Thanks for joining us on this episode of Politics and Power. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.